You've probably seen the viral clips flooding your social feeds. A robotic dog doing a perfect backflip off a wooden platform, or a shiny humanoid serving espresso at a flashy tech expo. It looks like a harmless, highly entertaining sci-fi circus act. But those entertaining internet videos are a deliberate distraction. Behind the curtain of choreographed martial arts routines, the largest industrial gamble in human history is unfolding. China is not just building cooler toys for tech enthusiasts, they are actively engineering a massive synthetic workforce. Right now, over 2 million heavy-duty industrial robots are operating inside Chinese manufacturing hubs and warehouses. In 2024 alone, they installed roughly 300,000 units. That is more than the rest of the entire planet combined. They hold roughly 2/3 of all robotics patents globally. This is a campaign mandated by the highest levels of power. This isn't just a gradual, natural upgrade to factory floors. It is a desperate trillion-dollar race for national survival. And the intelligent machines they are building right now might completely rewrite the fundamental laws of global labor. We are witnessing the birth of a new mechanical ecosystem. But how did they leapfrog the rest of the world so incredibly fast?
For decades, the West comfortably dismissed Chinese engineering as nothing more than cheap imitation and reverse engineering. That arrogant assumption has become a fatal miscalculation. To understand why their robotics sector exploded seemingly overnight, you have to look at their absolute dominance in electric vehicles. Building a versatile bipedal robot from scratch is incredibly hard. You need high-density batteries, powerful torque servo motors, and advanced spatial perception sensors like automotive LiDAR. But Chinese robotics startups didn't have to invent those parts. They already monopolized the global electric vehicle supply chain. They essentially treated electric cars like giant modular Lego sets. Engineers simply extracted the advanced liquid cooling systems, miniaturized the complex battery management software protocols, and stacked those pre-perfected components into a human shape. The price of servo motors has plummeted by over 80%. What used to cost a fortune in Western research laboratories is now mass-produced in Shenzhen like cheap smartphone parts. This brilliant cross-industry cannibalization is the exact reason why a company like Unitree can sell their highly advanced G1 humanoid for a jaw-dropping price of just $16,000. They aren't building entirely new machines from the ground up. They are literally reassembling cars in the shape of human beings. And they are doing it at a manufacturing scale that defies logic. Companies like Agibot are already mass-producing these units, aiming to deploy thousands of them by the end of this current year. But a cheap, highly articulated mechanical body is completely useless if it doesn't have a brilliant, adaptable mind to control it.
Until very recently, Silicon Valley felt perfectly safe and secure. Western tech giants dominated the artificial intelligence race, relying on massive server farms and brute force computing power. Then came the final week of January in the year 2025. A Chinese startup released an AI model known as DeepSeek R1. It performed almost identically to top-tier American frontier models, but it was trained for less than $6 million in total. That revelation sent an absolute shockwave through Wall Street. Nearly $1 trillion in market value vanished in a single day as panicked investors realized China had found an efficiency backdoor. Why does this specific software breakthrough matter for physical robots? Because true embodied artificial intelligence requires efficiency. You cannot fit a massive, power-hungry supercomputer inside a metal skull. DeepSeek proved that Chinese engineers could build smart brains without needing hundreds of thousands of expensive microchips. Suddenly, the complex technological puzzle pieces snapped together. They already had the hyper-cheap, mass-produced mechanical bodies. Now they had the hyper-efficient, highly capable digital minds. When you combine those two massive breakthrough technologies, you get machines like the groundbreaking Tiangong Ultra Humanoid. In April 2025, it ran a full 21-kilometer half marathon without stumbling, falling, or losing its internal battery power. But this incredible technological sprint isn't about showing off. It is a desperate, calculated response to a looming national catastrophe.
If you look closely at the modern factories deploying these machines, you will notice something incredibly unsettling about the workforce. The robots are not just stealing jobs from capable human workers, they are filling empty spaces where humans used to stand. China is facing an unprecedented, terrifying demographic collapse. Decades of strict population control policies have left the country with a rapidly aging society and a drastically shrinking workforce. By the year 2050, their elderly population will be overwhelming. There simply won't be enough young people to support the economy. Younger generations are aggressively rejecting traditional factory labor, refusing to work grueling, repetitive shifts on assembly lines. Without a constant supply of cheap human labor to rely on, the so-called factory of the world would completely collapse under the immense pressure of its own economic weight. So the government is attempting something never done in human history. They are trying to synthetically engineer an entirely new proletariat. At the massive Zeekr automotive manufacturing plant in Ningbo right now, advanced UB Tech humanoids are already working on the assembly line. They seamlessly lift heavy components, visually inspect parts, and sort delicate materials with incredible mechanical precision. Some models can even autonomously swap their own depleted battery packs, allowing them to work 24 hours a day without stopping. They don't demand higher wages, they don't form labor unions, and they never need to sleep, take a lunch break, or go home. But teaching a machine to navigate the chaotic physical world requires an unimaginable amount of physical trial and error, and their secret training methods are brilliantly bizarre.
You cannot teach a robot to walk by simply writing lines of code. It has to physically experience gravity, friction, and momentum. To bypass years of expensive, real-world physical damage to prototypes, researchers have turned to commercial video game engines. Inside these hyper-realistic digital physics simulators, artificial intelligence agents run, trip, and fall down millions of times per second in a perfectly controlled synthetic reality. Once the AI perfectly masters the digital environment, that neural network is seamlessly downloaded into a metal body. But the strangest training ground isn't inside a computer at all. It is actually happening inside massive commercial pig farms. Managing millions of live swine is incredibly chaotic and unpredictable. To automate this massive industry, tech giants installed ceiling cameras and attached wearable biometric AI trackers to the animals. This created an unprecedented closed-loop testing environment. The complex algorithms designed to track unpredictable livestock translate perfectly to tracking humans in crowded city centers. The exact same spatial awareness that manages a chaotic farm allows a humanoid robot to navigate a busy urban sidewalk. This seamless blend of biological tracking and machine learning creates machines that are deeply aware of their surroundings, and that acute awareness has terrified cybersecurity experts.
When you buy a cheap consumer robot for your home or research lab, you might actually be inviting a highly mobile spy inside your walls. Recent security audits of popular Chinese robotic platforms revealed deeply disturbing structural software vulnerabilities. European researchers analyzing the popular Unitree G1 humanoid found that the machine acts as a persistent, massive data vacuum. It continuously transmits rich, multimodal telemetry data directly back to centralized servers located in mainland China. This isn't just basic diagnostic information for troubleshooting. It includes active audio feeds from its dual microphones, sub-centimeter GPS tracking, and three-dimensional room mapping gathered by its 6 advanced depth-sensing optical cameras. Worse still, the internal network security was shockingly fragile. Hackers could easily bypass the Bluetooth setup interface and gain complete root access over the machine in seconds. Imagine a fleet of these affordable, highly agile machines deployed inside Western research labs or sensitive defense facilities. They represent the ultimate Trojan horse for the modern digital age. Domestically, the implications are even more dystopian and severe. Municipalities in Beijing are already testing humanoid police robots equipped with facial recognition and advanced crowd monitoring tools. When you fuse kinetic mobility with a total surveillance state, you create a physical panopticon that simply cannot be escaped. Yet, despite this terrifying potential for absolute societal control, the entire industry might be resting on a highly fragile foundation.
Behind the polished press releases and viral public demonstrations, a massive, catastrophic financial reckoning is quietly brewing. The Chinese government recently announced a massive venture capital fund designed to inject over 1 trillion yuan into the AI sector. That is roughly 137 billion US dollars. This unprecedented ocean of state subsidies triggered a gold rush. Over 150 different humanoid robot companies suddenly appeared out of nowhere to claim that government cash. But in late 2025, the National Development and Reform Commission issued a surprisingly blunt and public warning to global investors. They explicitly stated that the humanoid sector is a massive bubble. Dozens of these startups are producing highly similar robotic clones, burning through capital with absolutely zero path to profitability. Some companies are even accused of faking their technical capabilities, using hidden remote controls during their live public demonstrations just to secure their next round of lucrative state funding. This speculative frenzy perfectly mirrors the ghost cities of the past, where massive projects were built simply to capture government subsidies. But this brutal, capital-destroying inefficiency is entirely intentional. The state willingly tolerates a massive graveyard of failed prototypes because they know it creates a hyper-competitive Darwinian environment. 99% of these robotic startups will eventually go bankrupt, but the 1% that survive will completely dominate the globe.
For the last decade, the global conversation about modern technology has been entirely obsessed with digital software and applications. We focused on cloud computing, algorithmic feeds, and smart chatbots. But software, no matter how intelligent or highly sophisticated, is fundamentally trapped behind a flat, lifeless glass screen. The real physical world requires physical force and physical presence. Goods must be manufactured, critical minerals must be extracted, and national borders must be kinetically and physically patrolled. China has recognized a fundamental, inescapable geopolitical truth. The ultimate superpower of the 21st century will not be the nation that codes the smartest digital assistant. It will be the nation that builds the autonomous physical machine capable of walking into a room and physically turning a wrench. We are standing at the edge of a new industrial revolution. By weaponizing their massive electric vehicle supply chain and pushing the limits of embodied artificial intelligence, they are attempting to decouple their economy from human biology. This connects back to ancient Chinese philosophy and folklore. Unlike the West, which fears the Frankenstein myth of rogue creations, ancient Taoist texts viewed artificial automata as natural extensions of human ingenuity and universal mechanical harmony. They don't fear the machine, they intend to completely master it. If they succeed in this massive, unprecedented industrial gamble, they won't just control the foundational economics of tomorrow. They will literally own the mechanical hands that build the future. So what do you think about this massive shift in global automation? Are we truly ready for a world built and maintained by synthetic labor? Let me know your thoughts and predictions down in the comments below.